Hello, I'm John with CodeVA, and I'm going to show you how to trace through the program on the right side of the screen over here using the material computer, which is an imaginary computer that we kind of operate using manipulatives and our imaginations. So first, we're just going to go line by line, and we're going to trace this code. So first things first, we need to print how old are you? Now, because this doesn't involve any variables, it's pretty easy, but I am going to go the long way here. So how old are you is some data. It's a string type of data. So I'm going to go ahead and create a string type. How old are you? There we go. And I need the material computer to output this data. Now, it's not going to store the data in anything. It's not using a variable for this, so I'm literally just going to place that data straight on output. I'll record the output in my little console here. How old are you? Great. That's step one. Now, because this data isn't stored in a variable, the computer is going to immediately forget it. So I'm just going to remove that from the system. It's not being stored. I can't recall it later, so that's gone. Now on to the next line. Go in order line by line. Now this line's asking me to create a variable called answer, or so ANS, ants. I'm going to take a container, I'll throw it on the grid, get my label for my variable. Now I need to figure out what value the computer is assigning to the variable. And here the code is telling the material computer to gather input from the outside world. Integer data from the outside world specifically. If I were sitting across from someone, I might have my partner put some data in there, but put it on the input square to prompt the world to fill my container. And I'm just going to grab some data and throw it in there. These are just some tokens, represent integer data. And now my variable can go back into memory so I can recall that information for later. It's in there. Great. So that's line number 2. All right, line number 3, print. You said you were. Same deal. I need to make this data. You said you were. Please excuse my handwriting here. Material computer outputs the data, and then I'll record it dutifully on my console. Now, once again, because I'm not using a variable to store this data, the computer is going to immediately forget it. It's out of the system, no recalling, no reusing. I'd have to make a brand new sticky note if I wanted to print that message again. And finally, we're getting to line 4, which is the interesting line. We're going to print the variable value ANS. So I'm going to take my variable, throw it on output, and now in order to figure out what's in this variable, the computer is going to need to peek inside. And 5. Now I'm not actually 5 years old, but this is just so I can make this go a little fast. There we go. Okay, so 5. Now, because my variable is keeping this data, I'm going to put it back and let that variable go back into the grid. That's line 4. Finally, line 5, last line. Computer is going to make a new variable. So I'm going to grab my sticky note. Same deal as before. Years old. Thanks. I'm writing kind of fast because I want to get through this here in as little time as possible. Put that data on output. I will dutifully record it on my console. And because it's not in a variable, it is discarded. And that's the end of the program. I'm out of instructions. So you can see over here on my output, the computer asked, "How old are you?" Then it waited for the user to give an answer, and then it said, "You said you were 5 years old." Thanks. So pretty simple program, but uses a variable here, the integer type, getting input from the outside world, and you can build on this stuff in future programs to make stuff that's a little bit more useful. So that's the explanation. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Good luck and happy coding.